Hi, my name is Erin Anderson. I'm an education innovator at the Smithsonian Ed Lab, and I'm here to talk a little bit about object-based learning. I think that object-based learning is a really great way to introduce a lot of different things to your classroom, to prompt your students to think in a different way, and to find some real-world relevancy in the lessons that you'd like them to get, and also as an assessment tool. Objects traditionally aren't used as assessment tools. You have to think a little bit outside the box in order to do it, but the example that I'm going to talk about today is actually a really great way to help students who maybe aren't successful at taking traditional, fill in the bubble tests, to make some connections. And the example that I'm going to give today is would work well in an English language arts class, and it's called brown bag exams. There's a link to this on the Object Learning Pinterest page, and you can learn more if you just Google brown bag exams. But I'm going to use the example of the book The Westing Game by Ellen Raskin. As you can see, my copy is pretty worn. This was one of my favorite books as a child, still is pretty good. And I'm going to say that if I were theoretically giving an exam or an assessment on this book, a brown bag exam, basically you take brown bags, you put an object related to the story inside the brown bag, and you put it on all the students' desks. They don't have to be historic, they don't have to be expensive, they can be things that you just round up. And the students basically take those objects and interpret those objects through the lens of the book. So, for example, the first thing that I have is a shoe. You could maybe ask them to think about what character would you associate with a shoe like this, and find some evidence of that in the book. So I know there's a part in the book where they talk about Grace Wexler, who's one of the main characters. She moves into a new apartment and the carpet is very plush, and they talk about her heels sinking into it. So that's one way that you could have the student basically prove that they made these connections between the objects and the characters. There's another character who is a track star in high school. Shoes were easy, so I just grabbed these quick. But you could definitely use more than shoes in your assessment. And you could go through and find evidence of when there's a snowstorm, he runs in the hallways of the apartment building that all the characters live in. And then you can make it a collaborative assessment and have the students either pair up and find examples of places where their characters might overlap. And then you can have them create an essay at the end of it, basically making connections between the objects and the characters and how they might relate. If you have any questions, again, feel free to email me. There's also information on the Object Learning Pinterest page, and you can just Google brown bag exams and it'll give you a nice written explanation as well.